Hey, Motorman here, and of course this is my revival, part of the Icon motorcycle line from Harley Davidson. They're supposed to make one or two of these a year anyway, and we're going to talk about a really good rumor that I heard about 2022 Harley Davidson Icon line. And also we'll talk about the models that they're discontinuing for 2022. So come on, let's take a ride. Well, okay, first we're going to talk about the Icon collection. If you're not familiar with the Icon collection, Harley Davidson's, this is one of my riding right here. This is a sort of a copy of the 1969 Electra Glide. First year they came out with the Batwing fairing. And from what Harley says, they're going to be coming out with one or two of the Icon collection every year that harkens back to different motorcycles, icons that Harley made over the years. You know, granted, when I'm telling you this is just a rumor from what I consider a pretty good source. This is from a man who recently retired from Harley Davidson, worked on the assembly line up until I think 2 months ago, and he said they had them going over a motorcycle that looked very much like the 1957 FLH. That bike was sort of made famous by Elvis because he had one of those, a black one with every accessory that Harley Davidson makes, from the windshield to all the fender ornaments. Really sharp looking motorcycle. In fact, back in, I think it was 2007, Bruce Rossmeyer's Harley Davidson over in Ormond Beach near Daytona did a replica of that bike, which looked very, very much like it. And he said they had one on, they were going over it on the assembly line, not so much on the assembly line, but taking parts from different motorcycles, and he said it was based on it was coming from, they were customizing the Heritage. That's the 2018 and later Softails. It was complete with the leather bags. He said though they were hard bags, they had a leather covering that looked just like the bags from the 1950s. So another one that he had seen people working on, not him particularly, but he saw people working on, was a replica of the 1990 Fat Boy. Now, that was the first year for the Fat Boy. He said this bike, in fact, was silver. It had the yellow trim, just like the 1990, but it was actually a 2021 Fat Boy that they were working on. And it had the full fenders. And I kind of like that idea because I love the original Fat Boys from 1990 up until the present models. I love the fat fender look front and rear rather than that chopped rear fender they have now. And he did say it had he didn't know what size tire it was, but it was a skinnier tire similar to what they had on the last Fat Boy. I think that was 2017. So since Harley Davidson said they're going to do one or two Icon models every year, and since it's getting pretty close to the 2022 motorcycles, I think well, it could be one of those two bikes or even both of them. I'd love to see either one of them. I like nostalgia, and granted 1990 is not all that nostalgia, but it is quite a while ago. I know that there's people riding motorcycles now that were born in 1990. So that's the two possible Icon models. Again, just a rumor, but it's a pretty good source. And I asked him if they had, you know, while he was working there, he saw them working on through the years different types of motorcycles. He said yes, they always had some type of prototypes going. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is the three models that will be canceled for 2022. And first being the Sportster 1200 Iron. That bike will be no more. I can understand that because they got the new Sportster S out, and they still will be making the other Sportster, the 1200, and also the 883. Maybe this might be the time to buy one of those Sportster Irons, and could become a collector's item. I don't know. I would think it would take at least 15 or 20 years before well, with inflation, it might only take a year or two to get your original money back, but it might be a bike to take and keep. The way things are going now, there may be no more combustion engines after 2030. That's what they're shooting for, 2035. You may be able to have them, but you won't be able to ride them probably unless it's on a closed road course. I'm hoping that never happens, but that looks like it's coming. A lot of people said $5 a gallon gasoline would never happen again, and of course $4 or $5 a gallon is already here, depending on what state you live in. And I'm still holding true to my prediction that I made months ago, back in January, that gas is going to be $10 a gallon by 2024, and it may be even more than that. But getting back to the bikes they canceled, they also canceled the Sport Glide, which you know, I don't know what Harley Davidson sales figures are, or what they figure they should sell to make to continue making a particular model. I thought this 2021 Sport Glide was the nicest looking, with the gloss saddlebags, sharp looking bike, nice riding motorcycle. But I guess it just didn't sell as well as they thought it would. And I'm always curious about that. Through the years, Harley has tried to make several different models that are baggers, but that aren't in the FLH model line. The Heritage is one that's done pretty well through the years, very well actually. And they tried a couple of years back with the Switchback, which I thought was a good looking motorcycle built on the Dyna chassis with hard bags. I think the problem with them is it was too close in price to the Road King, and people figure they'll spend an extra $1,000 and get more for their money, because they did. The Road King coming with bigger saddlebags, front and rear crash guards, quite a few things that the Dyna Switchback didn't have. Also, a lot of people complained with the Dyna Switchback that at right about 65 to 75 miles an hour, it got a strange vibration, which became annoying at highway speeds, because a lot of times you're traveling at those speeds. And they said once you get above 75, it went away, and people had fixes for it. But anyway, initially that bike sold very well for the first year, and then tapered off to virtually nothing. So possibly that was the same thing with the Sport Glide. Initially sold very well, and then tapered off to nothing, so they're canceling it. And the third bike that they're canceling is the Slim. Now, I love the looks of the Slim. Very nostalgic looking motorcycle. Reminds me of what the Fat Boy used to look like, except it also had a chopped rear fender. But if you put a full fender on the back of the Slim, it looked just like the older model Fat Boys. So that's what Harley Davidson is canceling for 2022: the Slim, Sportster Iron, and the Sport Glide. Whether or not they'll replace it with something else, I couldn't say. I'm guessing they're going to come out with a less expensive Sportster S model, and maybe even a smaller touring bike, Sportster size, Sportster S sized, but with hard bags and a windshield, and maybe a little bit more suspension travel. But that's the rumors I heard, and I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, pick up a copy of my Ride Like a Pro experience video. It'll teach you the 3 techniques that make motor officers the top 2% of riders in America, and it will be the best $20 you'll ever spend on your motorcycle. If you like this video, take a look at this one also.